Short kick, live ball, scooped at the 15 by Josh Jacobs. And he is tackled short of the 25-yard line.
These last few weeks, and really just over the last 9 months. I know he missed time in the spring because of a broken hand, but when he's on the field, it's must-watch television. Big reason why he's the Heisman front-runner through the month of September.
Off play action. Tua dumps it off to the tight end, Irv Smith, and it's a first down past the 40. Smith stays in bounds, and how about this? This has happened to Arkansas all year. Whether it's on the opening kickoff or on the opening play, they give up a touchdown. 76 yards.
Started as Alabama comes on the road. A little naked just to get Tua into the game. Nice, easy completion. But look at the blocking downfield. I mean, just outstanding blocking. And really poor pursuit by the Razorbacks defense.
6th opening drive touchdown this season for Alabama. The extra point is good. We'll try to give you as much description in our play-by-play as we can with obviously limited cameras.
Jacobs, who might be one of the better pass-catching wide running backs in all of college football.
Devion Warren is deep for Arkansas, signaling for the fair catch, and that means that it automatically comes out to the 25-yard line. The quarterback for Arkansas is Ty Storey, making his 3rd consecutive start. Was a winner in high school, 3 state championships, 1 as a linebacker, 2 as a quarterback in 2013 and 2014 in Charleston. He did have some offers from some other power schools like Bama, Auburn, and Louisville.
Storey's done his best job of doing that. They've played better the last 2 weeks as a result.
And one of the reasons Rakeem Boyd, who they faked it to on that play. Storey throws it at the feet of the receiver, O'Grady, who wasn't even looking for the ball. There was pressure from Christian Miller. Again, if you're just tuning in wondering what's going on here, we're 12 minutes away from when we can man our cameras again. So we're showing you some looks the best we can. We're under a weather technical delay. There was a lightning strike within 8 miles of the stadium. So by company policy, we cannot man the cameras right now, so we'll do you the best to bring you the action here. 2nd and 10 from the Arkansas 25. And Storey looking to dump it off out of the backfield instead over the middle to the tight end O'Grady, and he gets about 8 yards to the 33. It will bring up 3rd down and 2.
And this is where they have to be efficient on 1st and 2nd down. Alabama on 3rd down does a really good job. They can play man coverage. They can rush the passer. So Arkansas has to be efficient on the first 2 downs, because if you get in an obvious passing situation, Raekwon Davis at defensive tackle, Quinnen Williams, who's been as good as any defensive tackle in college football, they can pin their ears back and really get after the passer. So keeping them off balance, mixing the tempo, mixing the looks with screens and with draws, and making sure that they avoid 3rd and long situations.
Alabama scored on its first play. Arkansas its 3rd play. Storey has a completion out to the 43. It's a first down. And Grayson Gunter, a 3rd-string tight end, able to make the catch and move the chains, an 8-yard gain.
Pressure off the right-hand side. Storey recognizes one-on-one, and he takes advantage of it. Trayvon Diggs falls down as he's breaking, and the reason why we can see that is because we have an in-house camera that's taking a peek at it, not manned by anyone working for ESPN.
They run the ball. Boyd off the left side, and he's able to push the pile, broke a tackle, and gets to the 48-yard line, so that's a gain of 5. Nice drive so far.
Really nice start by this offense, keeping Alabama guessing. We've seen misdirection. We've seen a double fake screen that goes to the tight end over the middle of the field. Got Alabama on their heels a little bit about what's coming at them, snap in and snap out.
Well, you guys made the point, and I know both you guys watch a lot of games on tape. The Storey dumps it off to Boyd, and he's tripped up. A great open field stop by McKinney. So minimal gain, if any. You guys have made the comment several times this week that you see some weaknesses defensively for Alabama.
Yeah, they're still not a complete finished product. They could find a little bit more dynamic edge rusher. They don't have a Tim Williams coming off the edge or a Ryan Anderson. Now Christian Miller's coming along, and Anthony Jennings has been solid. But there's still some issues that they're trying to work out. Better angles at the 2nd level, making sure that they're dynamic in that area. They're so talented. It's just, are they playing complete just yet?
Storey over the middle to Austin Cantrell. He's got another Arkansas first down. Nick Saban told us yesterday he's noticed a big difference on film with Arkansas the last 2 weeks. They're a lot different offensively than they were early in the year.
Yeah, and they're just changing where Alabama's looking. I mean, they get a running back going out to the right-hand side, Rakeem Boyd, who is the home run threat for Arkansas. They slip a little tight end screen over the middle. Changing where Alabama's looking at and changing their focal point minimizes the athleticism discrepancy between the two teams.
Chase Hayden now is the running back, and they're going to throw it out to Mike Woods, true freshman, able to get around the edge, dragged down by Trayvon Diggs, junior out of Maryland, and it's a pickup of about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6. We are 8 minutes away from when we can start manning the cameras and show you all the angles that we intended to coming into the game.
And this is their young speedster here, Michael Woods. He's the true freshman, really the one game-breaking, space-tight player they've got at this receiving corps. Good early target there for Ty Storey.
Play action pass, Story setting up, looking to take a deep shot into double coverage. Incomplete. Intended for Jordan Jones. So it'll be 3rd down and 6.
And the fans in the stands were wanting pass interference, but it was a good no call, because if you look at the safety, Deontay Thompson, he's trying to make a play on the ball. I mean, he has right to the football as well. So he's looking back at it, trying to run underneath that.
When we can man our cameras again. We've been in a weather technical delay. Because of company policy, we cannot man the cameras. So we're showing you what we can in terms of angles. We'll give you as much description up here in the booth as we can. Thanks for hanging with us. It's 7-0 Alabama. Touchdown in the opening play from scrimmage for the Crimson Tide. It's good that my headset was working. You would have had to call that. In the dirt on the snap. Story in trouble. And the ball is ripped loose, and it's picked up by Alabama. It's recovered by Isaiah Buggs. Forced by Quinnen Williams. So a good drive by Arkansas comes to an end on the turnover. Raekwon Davis was injured on the previous play. He's okay, though. Wasn't on the field for that. Quinnen Williams forces the fumble. Buggs with a recovery. 7-0 Crimson Tide. More to do on the field. Arkansas down 7-0, and they just turned it over. And now we've got to whistle some movement by Alabama as we're about to man our cameras again. That's why we have the ovation here.
False start. 74. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Jedrick Wills, a right tackle, called for a false start. So we are in a weather technical delay due to company policy. We could not have the cameras manned. But again, our folks are making their way to the cameras so we can show you all the angles. Thanks for hanging with us here. First quarter, 4 minutes gone by. Damian Harris gets the call here on 1st and 15, and he has stood up at the line of scrimmage.
Don't you get the sense that whether it was last week versus Texas A&M, you give up the touchdown on the opening kickoff, this week you give up the touchdown on defense, and then all of a sudden Arkansas kind of settles in, and it's the defense that becomes the calming force.
And that's going to be what they need today to keep up with a high-powered Alabama offense with Tua Tagovailoa leading the charge.
On 2nd and 14, Tua to Smith again. He had the touchdown on the first play from scrimmage, and he's still going on this one. He coughs the ball up. It's recovered by Alabama, and it's a touchdown for Henry Ruggs. The bouncing ball certainly going Alabama's way in every way this year.
Wow. I mean, a great play. Working play action and finding Irv Smith, who's just a bowling ball, but he gets it stripped downfield. And this is why you hustle on every play. You never know what's going to happen. You chase the ball, whether you're on offense or on defense. And Henry Ruggs, right place, right time, is rewarded and changes what could have been a catastrophic play for an Alabama offense that seldom turns it over into a touchdown. Great hustle by Henry Ruggs.
His 6th touchdown of the year as the rain falls here in Fayetteville. Less than 5 minutes into the game, and it's already 14-0 Alabama. Play from scrimmage, Alabama scores a touchdown. Irv Smith, 76 yards, catch and run. And it just looked like Arkansas stopped there.
Just awful pursuit in the secondary. I don't think anyone realized just how fast Irv Smith is. Next drive, Arkansas has a couple first downs, but not before Bugs strips it and recovers it. 2 plays later, Irv Smith again on the RPO, just rumbling, stumbling through defenders. And look at the hustle by Henry Ruggs. The fumble, but you always chase the ball. On offense and on defense, you always chase the ball. And when Alabama turns it over, does not get picked up by the Arkansas player, and you can see Alabama, they cash in as much as anybody on sudden change opportunities.
That play right there, Greg, a microcosm of the season for both teams, really. For Arkansas in a negative way and Alabama in a positive way. Touchback to the 25, but first here's Adnan in the studio. 14-0 Alabama here. You're looking at first-year head coach Chad Morris. Spent the last 3 years as the head man at SMU. Trying to turn this program around. They've lost 7 straight games against FBS opponents, and a broken play here on the first play of this drive. Dylan Moses eats alive tie story.
Chad Morris is an innovative offensive mind. Of course, was at Clemson for a while. Got things going at SMU when nobody thought you could. It's going to take some time here at Arkansas. He's got to get faster. He's got to get more athletic. They have to be more sound in the front offensively and defensively. But he's got a vision for this program, and they got a long ways to go.
Loss of 3 on first down. Story on second down. Dumps it off to Boyd. Makes one man miss. And does a great job to stay in bounds. Now, actually, they're going to say he stepped out back at the 29-yard line. Shaheen Carter was trying to bring down Boyd and could not, so it's a gain of about 7 on the play. You see there he stepped out. The official right on top of it.
Yeah, and you just can't have negative plays on first down because that was a pretty successful play there for Arkansas, and yet you're still in a passing situation where Alabama likes to ramp up the pressure. Rakeem Boyd is a good, solid back. They need to continue to find ways to get him the football in space, particularly on the perimeter, where he can use his size as an advantage.
Texas A&M transfer and was at a junior college last year. Here's Story on the rollout on 3rd down and 6. And that pass batted away, incomplete. Diggs knocks it away from Jordan Jones. So it's 4th down.
This is such an unbelievable play. I mean, it doesn't look that difficult, but if you watch Diggs and the way he flips his hips, this is a pretty well thrown football. But they throw a little back shoulder on a little wheel route. Diggs is running the route. He used to play wide receiver. He's running the route, and you see him put that right foot in the ground, flip his hips almost 270 degrees, and knock the ball down. Great play by Diggs.
Here's Jalen Waddle, had a punt return for a touchdown last week, and he's going to stay away from this one. And the ball comes to a standstill at the 24-yard line. 46-yard punt, no return. Jalen Hurts is in the game. He's in the slot and now comes into the backfield. And Hurts gets the handoff. And he's out to the 29-yard line. Jalen Hurts, who obviously had been the starter, 26-2 record, lost the job to Tua Tagovailoa at the start of the year, elected not to transfer, not to redshirt, but to stick it out here with the Tide.
And to become a more complete player. We all know that Jalen Hurts is a tremendous athlete, but he can improve as a passer, and actually has this year in a lot of ways.
Hurts going to run it again. A huge lane. Hurts past midfield and finally run out of play at the 44-yard line. 27-yard run.
It's nice to see him get involved early while the game is still yet to be decided.
Damian Harris, another huge gap, and he's to the 31, a 13-yard pickup. We'll get into the Hurts Tagovailoa dynamic a little bit later. Let's spend a moment on Damian Harris, trying to become the first Alabama running back to have 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Yes, I would take him in the first round of the NFL draft. He's that explosive, and he really translates to today's NFL with the way he can catch it.
Tagovailoa off play action, goes back to Harris now, who breaks a tackle and finally pushed out of play, but after another first down and a gain of 13 to the 18-yard line. And Harris can catch the ball too. That's his 10th reception of the season. Fresh set of downs for Tua. And he slings it to the end zone for Smith. And it's incomplete. Cameron Curl appeared to get a piece of the ball there. Josh Jacobs in the backfield on 2nd and 10 now. Play fake for Tua, rolling out, and Tua completes it to Judy inside the 5. It's another Alabama first down. Jerry Jeudy, a team-high 20 catches. That's a 14-yard gain.
Alabama has everything they want at their disposal right now. They're working the ground game. They're going off tackle with some of the stretch.
Here's Jacobs, pushes the pile all the way down to the 1-yard line.
No, Greg, it's interesting you say that because they have so many things in their arsenal to go to, but it's simplicity made to look complex. They're a 2 to 4 run play team, and that's it.
Jacobs again into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. And it's 20-0 already. 6th touchdown of the season for Jacobs, a junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Josh Jacobs is technically 3rd on the depth chart, and he would start at 115 schools. He's that good, and he's that versatile. We'll see him a little later on playing fullback and being used in Alabama RPO packages as a receiver.
And we saw him return a kick for a touchdown against Louisville to start the season. Bullivus tacks on 1, and it's all Alabama, not surprisingly, against 1-4 Arkansas. And you can make the case, Adnan, that guy along with Tua right now are the 2 front runners for the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, the outcome of the game today will impact Murray as Raekwon Davis gets off a block and drags down Boyd at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play.
Raekwon Davis is a guy that needs to come alive. The best defensive player for Alabama so far this year is probably Quinnen Williams. Now, Deontay Thompson might have something to say about that, but Raekwon Davis was expected to be the bell cow up front. He hasn't really been himself. The first 5 games of the year, he's been a little up and down. I know they want to see his production ramp up.
Story lobs it downfield for Boyd. And Boyd lowers the shoulder on Deontay Thompson.
Man coverage at that, but he gets rubbed by the ex-receiver who's coming in and standing about 5 yards off the ball. Boyd is a really versatile weapon that I know Ty Story is going to emphasize at some point in this game.
And Boyd going to get a lot of work with Debwa Whaley out again in this game. Boyd not afraid to welcome contact as Dylan Moses hits him, and then Boyd chatting with Deontay Thompson. Is Ty Story the guy to get Arkansas through this season, do you think?
Right now, based on what we know, yes. With him at the helm the last 2 weeks, the team has progressed. Now, are they where they need to be? No. Has Ty Story been dynamic enough at quarterback to hold it long term? Probably not, but he's the best option they have at this point.
O'Grady on the tight end screen. It's a first down inside the Bama 40. This is the second time that Story has moved the team into Alabama territory. There was a strip sack on the first possession. It resulted in a takeaway for Alabama. Let's see if the result is more positive for Arkansas.
And Greg, I really like this plan for Arkansas. Keeping Alabama guessing, a lot of misdirection, a lot of pump fake, and easy throws for Ty Story to let the receivers do the rest of the work.
Now, Chad Morris, a really good offensive coach. Play action here. Story rolling out, looking downfield. Everybody covered, so Story goes underneath. And it's an incompletion. He was trying to hit Deion Stewart.
And that's what you have to do when you're playing against Alabama. You just want to take the fight to them and run it between the tackles. It ain't going to happen.
Good luck.
It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'll just tell you right now, it's not going to happen. So what you have to do against Alabama is you have to try to win on the perimeter. You have to change the launch angle. You have to get them moving sideline to sideline. You can't take the fight and say, hey, we're going to beat you at what we do. You have to adjust, because if you have that level of arrogance playing against Alabama, the likelihood of you being able to move the ball consistently is extremely low.
Is it arrogance or them just saying we got to try, because it's not like the perimeter's easy either. Here's a strike by Story, a first down. Deion Stewart inside the 25. It's a 16-yard gain.
They're going to have some opportunities outside. Right here, they try to work a slant, and they get it against Diggs. And a nice throw by Story, too. In stride for a nice pickup.
You know, Greg, I think Ty Story won this job because he proved that he can get beat up and get back up off the carpet, and his teammates respected it. And that's when Chad Morris said, that's it. It's your job.
Cole Kelly, the other starter. Here's Boyd trying to get outside. Like I said, it's really hard to run the perimeter there. Raekwon Davis. Check that. It was LeBron Ray on the tackle there, getting off a block. And so a loss of 1 on the play.
And they just have to really change. Alabama, they know what's coming. So it's a challenge. It always has been. And it will be another one here tonight. Or today, excuse me, against Arkansas.
Again, that negative play on first downs killed Arkansas all season. Story off play action. He's got O'Grady inside the 10. It's 1st and goal for Arkansas.
Good job by Diggs staying home and not taking the bait. But a better job by Story throwing the back shoulder hold up to his tight end.
How frustrating, though, must this be for Chad Morris? You give up a touchdown on the first play. They get a fluke touchdown where they probably would have scored anyway, but still on the bouncing ball. Yet twice they've moved the football in Alabama's defense. Can they punctuate it here with a touchdown in this drive? Hard to do that against McKinney. Boyd on the catch, but he gets nothing.
Well, it's tough, Greg, when this field condenses down here and you're a spread team and you want to do a lot of misdirection and play action and move the pocket. Alabama defensively just doesn't have to cover the real estate and can keep the ball in front of them. It makes it hard to score down here if you're not a power run team.
Well, they just brought a couple of tight ends in, perhaps for that reason.
Not a lot of teams get to the red zone.
And if they do, it's in the 4th quarter when the second-team defense is out there, right?
Exactly.
You're right.
But the ones that have fared quite well. And, I mean, if you have to nitpick to try to find holes, but that's one of them.
Oh, Story had the tight end Gunter wide open and missed him. 3rd and goal.
Those aren't picks. Those are rubs.
Rubs if you're an offensive guy, picks if you're a defensive guy.
Story, end zone again, and this time he hits his tight end O'Grady. Touchdown, Razorbacks. Again, Nick Saban told us when he watched film, he saw a different offense the last couple of games, even though they only scored 17, lost to A&M last week. But Saban said this is more of what Chad Morris wants.
By the number 3, this is a pretty simple coverage. And they didn't pass it off right. You see Diggs, number 7, who they're trying to basically inside out that stack right there. And they did not pass it off. You see 15. Xavier McKinney stay inside. Diggs is supposed to stay outside, depending on where the wide receivers crossed. Card outside of the fumble.
Pooch kickoff to Jacobs. And Jacobs past the 30-yard line out to the 34.
Going up the seam, Tua hits him. And a great hustle by Ruggs to recover the fumble en route to the end zone.
Final seconds here, the first quarter. And Tua going to keep it, trying to stiff arm the defender. Instead, he spun down. That was Scooter Harris making the play. Arkansas made a lot of mistakes in that first quarter, but they also did some good things against the #1 team in the country. They have Missouri in Tuscaloosa next week. Then they go to Tennessee. And then to LSU November 3rd. That's their last road game of the season. Their final 3 games will be at home, including the Iron Bowl November 24th. On 1st and 10, it's Najee Harris on the carry. Picks up 6. Here's Adnan in the studio. All right, but 3rd and 3 here for Alabama. This is big for Arkansas's defense. Got a little momentum. Can they make a play here against the #1 offense in college football?
And one of the best in the country on 3rd down as well.
Tua's going to throw it. Now flushed out of the pocket. Trying to get to the first down marker. He's pushed out. It's going to be close. They'll mark him short. At the 43, Dijon Harris chasing down Tua Tagovailoa. Shoves him out of play. Just shy of the line to gain. It's 4th down. They're going for it, and I would too if I had this offense.
I would put my offense on the field, and I would try to draw Arkansas offsides with a hard count. It's difficult to go for it at this point. Nick Saban's going to call timeout.
They had Robinson in as a fullback in front of Damian Harris in the backfield. First timeout taken by Nick Saban.
A true sophomore and making his 5th start to have those things completely dialed in. It's to be expected, that still an area of growth for him.
Alabama going for it on 4th down and 1. Going to hand it to Damian Harris, and he gets stood up. He didn't get it. Harris was there first for the Razorbacks.
Brian Robinson just whiff in the hole. You see him, look at him right there. He's just standing around. He doesn't hit anybody. And Damian Harris doesn't often get brought back down by first contact. Right there, he stood up in the hole. Great surge by Arkansas's defensive front.
A design quarterback run here for Story. And he gets about 8 yards. Guys, think about as disastrous a start as this was for Arkansas, giving up a touchdown on the first play and then a bouncing ball off a fumble that's recovered by an offensive player for a touchdown. If they can score here, the way they've moved the football on Alabama today, we may have a game.
Yeah, and they can probably look at themselves too and say, hey, our mistakes are self-inflicted. If I'm Arkansas, that's what I'm telling myself. We fumbled the ball, but we moved it consistently on that drive. We didn't cover the RPO. We didn't take good pursuit angles on the first play. So Arkansas is probably thinking to themselves, we're in this, man.
And a huge running lane for Boyd. Inside the 10 and then hit out of bounds. At the 6-yard line, a 32-yard run. Boy, Deontay Thompson lucky he didn't get.
He continues to accelerate with his physical presence. He's got top-end speed that's rare and is pretty well-rounded when involved in the passing game as well.
So Chase Hayden in the game here. 1st and goal for Arkansas. The quarterback keeps it, and Story fumbles the ball, and Alabama's Thompson recovers it. A turnover on the goal line. Quinnen Williams forced it. Thompson with the recovery.
Wow. He's hit, and you see that ball clearly moving before that left knee hits the ground. Of course, every turnover is reviewed. You see it moving, though.
Yeah, it looks like it's out. You're right.
Man, Ty Story, after such a nice play sequence, he gets hit and can't secure the football. I know running it against Alabama is challenging. I have to disagree with running the quarterback there. You have Boyd, who's been so steady and explosive. Let's run the football effectively, not just this week, but the last few.
Second takeaway for Alabama's defense. This drive starts short of their 1-yard line. Harris past the 5-yard line, and Harris drags a defender past the line to gain.
No,
Greg Greenlaw couldn't get him down. 11-yard pickup.
Greg, it goes back to what you said earlier. Self-inflicted wounds for Arkansas, and now all you do is swing the momentum back to a team, and despite you having them backed up, all the pressure now goes back onto the defense. They've got to start helping out this defense.
Tua throws here, and it's a dart. Ruggs on the catch, out to the 33, picking up 21 yards. So in 2 plays, they move it out to the 33-yard line.
It's unbelievable. I mean, every time they get backed up or in a difficult situation, a 3rd and long, they just seem to answer. And now they go to their pony package with 2 running backs on the field. Keep an eye on number 8, Josh Jacobs, who's working out here to the right-hand side.
Yep, leaving the backfield. Tagovailoa wide open is Judy into Arkansas territory. They can't get him down. They finally blow it dead. 18-yard pickup. Some contact after the whistle. No flags.
And this is where Alabama usually takes a shot. You have all the momentum. You're going for the jugular. Arkansas's defenders have their hands on their hips, so the pass rush might be somewhat neutralized. This is where Alabama, on this part of the field, they usually try to take the top off the defense and run one of these speedy wide receivers way downfield.
And here's Najee Harris. Falls forward to the 42-yard line. It's a gain of 7 for Harris, who's from the Bay Area. And the ball came out, and it was recovered by Arkansas. Coming out of there with it was Ramirez. Harris thought he was down. Alabama thought the whistle blew. At least that's what it looked like. But ruled on the field as a fumble.
Recovered by the defense. 1st down.
That was really odd sequence of events. And before his body hits the ground, it looks like that ball is moving. Arkansas has new life.
The ruling on the field in the previous play is a fumble recovered by the defense. This play is now under video review.
Two things here. First of all, did Najee Harris fumble the ball? It was ruled a fumble on the field, but also watch Santos Ramirez here come at the end. They're looking to see if targeting should be called here on Ramirez.
After video review, the runner's right elbow was on the ground prior to the ball coming out, but it was second down.
And so no targeting. They were looking. Review can create targeting, but they are telling us that there was no forcible contact to the head or neck area against Najee Harris, and that's why they did not call targeting and eject Santos Ramirez. Alabama keeps the ball. It's first down at the Arkansas 42-yard line. I thought it was more targeting. I thought that was forcible contact. So Bama, now they're trying to get the down. It's actually second down. So it's second down and 3. They had moved the chains to make it a first down. They got to move them back. They set the ball down, and it's 2nd and 3. Tagovailoa slides up, goes deep for Judy, on the money, touchdown Alabama. What a throw by Tua, perfectly tossed to Judy for his 7th touchdown.
And look at this work by Jerry Jeudy, working out, attacking leverage. You see that safety hold on Irv Smith's route, and Jeudy has one-on-one, a beautiful throw too by Tua Tagovailoa.
And now Tua with 16 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's the only player in college football with those kind of numbers this season. He is delivering in this ball game in many ways for the Tide.
The safety kind of hold and come down, which allows Jeudy to fire over the top on the post route. Look at the influence that Irv Smith creates. Drops back, saying it's over. Jalen puts his arms up, and Tua makes him right. Great throw and catch, and a good job by Jalen being able to foresee the future on the sideline.
Another negative play on first down here for Arkansas. It's a loss of 3.
Jonah Williams a little too strong on the high five after the celebration. Who knows?
Or the flicking of the wrist on the touchdown pass. I mean, other than that, didn't see much. What a year he's had, though, Tagovailoa. Wide open out of the backfield is Hayden for an Arkansas first down. As the Razorbacks continue to get some chunk plays on this Alabama defense, that's 20 more yards.
And that's the second time they've allowed a running back to free release out of the backfield, and nobody was there to cover him. The first time Mack Wilson was late, and there was a little bit of a rub offensively. That time they just busted it, and Patrick Surtain, the freshman corner, crashed inside. As you can see, Tua Tagovailoa returning to his spot on the bench.
So, guys, is this a reason? Is this Alabama having weaknesses on defense or just complacency because you're playing an Arkansas team that's 1-4? Answer that after this play. Story going deep, and it's pulled in at the 20-yard line by Deion Stewart against Trayvon Diggs for 37 yards.
Good job of making the most of the contested catch opportunity. Now they got Stewart in the backfield motioning out.
And Arkansas has already got over 200 yards of offense. Kind of a jump ball there to Mike Woods on a short route.
That's unbelievable right there. That play, I know it doesn't seem like much. Mike Woods is trying to run a fade. He's trying to release, but because of the press coverage of Trayvon Diggs, he's so strong and sudden at the point. It goes to show you how quick and sudden and physical these corners are.
Here's a swing pass to Hayden, gets a block inside the 15, close to another first down. All right, Tom and Greg, you guys can jump in here now on Alabama's defense. Is this a reason to be concerned of you, Nick Saban, or is this complacency?
No, I mean, they are going against a pretty good offensive mind that's going to find some vacancies. The one thing they've really struggled over the middle, and running backs free releasing out of the backfield. They allowed one big run to Rakeem Boyd on the left side, but for the most part, I mean, it's just Arkansas making a couple key plays.
Story's thrown for 170 yards in this game as, boy, it was kind of an awkward play there, and a penalty flag is down.
And that was designed. We're going to get a face mask here, too, on the tackle, but that was designed.
Tell you what that looked like was Philly in the Super Bowl, except there was no one there to pitch to on the reverse.
Two fouls by the defense on the play. Offside in the neutral zone at the snap, number 14. His penalty is declined. personal foul, grasping the face mask. Number 99 of the offense. Comes half the distance to the goal line from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
A bit of a unique play, tried to trick Alabama. Alabama not falling for it, but grasping the face mask. Give them half the distance to the goal and a fresh set of downs.
It's interesting, too. They're bringing in the backup quarterback, Cole Kelly, at 6'7", 260. Ty Storey turned it over down here the last time Arkansas was inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, it makes sense. The bigger body, the guy that can really take the blows from Alabama's defense.
And it's a design quarterback run. Kelly puts his head down, holds on to the ball, and he's down to the 3-yard line. He started 4 games last year, a couple of games this year. Where's Ryan Mallett's old number? He's as tall as Ryan. He's just a little wider than Mallett was.
A little?
And he's lost 15 pounds. That's what's amazing. I mean, he's down weight from where he was a year ago, but Cole Kelly, not the most explosive runner, but a guy that can push the pile. That's why I was surprised the last time Arkansas was down here. They opted to run it with Ty Storey as opposed to Cole Kelly, who's more capable of absorbing those big hits by Alabama's defense.
Give Chad Morris credit for making the in-game change. Here he is again. Oh, it was a jump pass version, and it's a dart for a touchdown to O'Grady.
The jump pass is usually wide open. That time covered up. But a nice throw and a nice answer by Arkansas's offense.
Arkansas with 220 yards of total offense on this Alabama defense. And they muff the kick. It's scooped up by Robinson. And he is grounded at the 25-yard line.
I got to give credit to this Arkansas student section, man. This is a very underrated venue. It gets really loud in here, and they get fired up when Alabama comes to town.
Harris, good balance, puts his hand down and gets out to the 33-yard line. Let's listen in to what Nick Saban had to say this week about the Alabama student section.
I can honestly say I was a little disappointed that there weren't more students at the last game. And I think we're trying to address that. I don't think they're entitled to anything either. And me personally, I think it ought to be first come, first serve. And if they don't want to come to the games, they don't have to come. But I'm sure there's enough people around here that like to go to the games, and we'd like for them to come too because they support the players.
Harris gets the first down. Guys, is this really about the student section, or is this about Nick Saban trying to find ways to keep his team sharp? He doesn't want his players to get complacent, and if the fans are not into it, then maybe he's worried the players won't be if they're playing an inferior opponent.
Completely. I mean, you respect every opponent and respect the atmosphere. It's definitely a way to kind of speak to his team through the media. He does it all the time and usually doesn't take the most direct route, but there it was pretty obvious.
Oh my goodness, Damian Harris given a lane between the tackles that he could have driven a bus through, and he's out to the 40 for 18 yards. What was the opponent that you said that you were worried about when you were playing it out?
But Western.
No, it was Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I remember, I mean, every week Nick Saban would tell you, you better do this, you better do that. If you don't do this, we're going to lose. Western Kentucky could be coming to town. I'm 10-0, and I'm scared to death, thinking we better play well today or they could get us.
Two obviously is okay. Back in at quarterback after going to the tent for a little bit. Harris to the 34-yard line.
Now, don't you get the sense that Alabama at moments just decides to say, enough being cute, let's just line up, put them in a phone booth, and prove our mettle. And that's exactly what this drive is all about.
Yeah, and honestly, Tom, they just say, hey, we've thrown it, we got the passing game going.
Yep.
No problems there. One note, we haven't worked today. We haven't run the ball real well. Let's get it going here. That's what they say before each drive.
And you know what's coming off that? Play action. And Tua going up high to make the catch is the true freshman Jalen Waddle. First down in the red zone. Adnan, take it away. Wow. Only 10 points for that Oklahoma offense as Tua keeps it himself and picks up just a couple yards.
And definitely the biggest challenge that Oklahoma's faced from a defensive standpoint. And Tua just ran the ball on the zone read and walking a little gingerly.
He planted, Greg, a little awkwardly from down at my vantage point, and you could tell once even before he hit the ground, something wasn't right.
Yeah.
sophomore, went to the same school in Hawaii as Marcus Mariota. Mariota was a mentor of Tua's. And he throws a strike inside the 5 to Waddle. It's another Alabama first down.
And as soon as they get that running game going, here comes naked. As soon as they get the downhill running game going, here comes RPO. You can never be right, and you can never guess against Alabama. They have every package you could imagine.
Harris straight ahead, touchdown Bama.
And they honestly make it look easy. I mean, they operate with such efficiency. It's just remarkable. On the ground, through the air.
You asked Mike Loxley, the offensive coordinator on the field before the game, you said, are you unstoppable? Or can you be stopped? And he said, he kind of paused. He thought about it because I think he wanted to say maybe we're not. But he did say, yeah, we can stop ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, Nick told us last night he's not real thrilled with his specialists, and Bulovas misses the extra point. He had missed 3 field goals this year coming in.
So Mackenzie Milton, I know a lot of people consider him to be a bit of a Heisman contender as well. Just not sure how he'll be able to unseat guys like Tua Tagovailoa and Dwayne Haskins if they continue to play as well as they have so far.
Tua's brother, who is living now in the state of Alabama, Talia, he's committed and will play for Alabama next year. So both Tagovailoas will be here. Let's check in with Adnan. All right, Adnan. Be interesting to hear what Coach Saban has to say here. Can't be pleased with his defense, but offensively, I don't know if there's any team on their schedule, at least that we know of right now, on their schedule, meaning the teams before the college football playoff, that can stop this attack with Tua at the helm. Story in trouble, just throws it away as he was about to be sacked by Christian Miller. There was a receiver in the area. The officials are talking about it. He's still in the pocket. Story's pointing, saying there was a receiver in the air.
Intentional grounding right there. I wouldn't have been surprised, to be honest with you.
Story fakes the swing pass, has a ton of time, now just takes off and pushed out of play by Dylan Moses at the 29-yard line. So the Alabama defense came in number 5 in points allowed, giving up 13 on the season. They've given up 14 today. They're 23rd in yards allowed, and it looks like Arkansas is going to exceed the amount that Bama gives up per game. And then you look at third down conversions, 26% coming in, and Arkansas 3 of 5.
And that's what the big question mark was coming into the season. It wasn't Alabama's offense. You knew they'd be prolific, regardless of who the quarterback was going to be, but they were replacing a lot of key pieces and a lot of veteran leadership on that defensive side, and they've been pretty solid in the first month.
Pressure on Story, and he was trying to throw it to his back, and it was knocked down by Buggs. He was trying to hit Hayden out of the backfield, and he had Surtain coming on a corner blitz there.
So Alabama's done a nice job, Greg, of kind of keying their pass rush to the drop of the quarterback now so that they don't get burned in the screen game that plagued them here in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, and they understand, too, that Arkansas has really tried to make an emphasis of working the middle of the field.
Yep.
And they've kind of buttoned that up as well. And Alabama now with the chance to work on some of that situational awareness for Tua. 2-minute drive.
They went 99 yards in 2 minutes earlier. Poor punt here by Bauer. Oof. True freshman. Tagovailoa off play action. Judy wide open, trying to outrun the defense. He might do it. Inside the 20-yard line, they won't catch him. Touchdown Tide, 60 yards.
Well, it's tough to work 2-minute and 2-minute offense when you score on the first play of your 2-minute. I mean, Jerry Jeudy just
and
hits
how about
the
this
Jets.
here? You had 17 touchdown passes in 2009. You won the national championship. It's October 6th, and
Yes.
Tua has tied your mark.
That is very reasonable.
How many interceptions do you have that year? Because Tua has 0.
He's on pace to beat me there. There's nothing much to it. I mean, it's just a simple little short slant off of an RPO action. And This is just not about X's and O's. It's not about diagramming or scheming. This is strictly about personnel. And Jerry Jeudy is better than the two defenders that were chasing after him, and Santos Ramirez and Cameron Curl, the safeties. Get one-on-one coverage. He goes over and says, "Hey, coach, appreciate it. Yeah, good work." When he catches the ball, the immediate acceleration, the way he accelerates through the catch is so unique.
Touchback, it'll come out to the 25 for Arkansas. And Brees got hurt. Some wondered, will he ever be the same? Who will take Drew Brees? Well, Sean Payton took him, and that combination has been record-setting.
And how about the fact that Nick Saban was trying to get Drew Brees to Miami when he was the head coach of the Dolphins, trying to get Drew Brees to Miami, and he couldn't pass the physical exam coming back from that torn shoulder.
Yep.
In the offseason. So as a result, they go with Dante Culpepper. Culpepper has a really bad year. They go 7-9. Nick Saban says, you know what, I'm going back to college. Next thing you know, he's back in Tuscaloosa with 5 additional championships to his name.
Fate has a wicked sense of humor.
And who did Saban tell us last night Tua reminds him of? Drew Brees, because of his instincts and accuracy. Here's Mike Woods getting a first down. There's a penalty marker down. That's pretty high praise to say that. I know some people look at a quarterback that's 6'1", and so you're trying to find guys that are 6 feet 6'1" to compare it to.
Eligible receiver downfield, number 9 of the offense. He was a slot receiver on the line of scrimmage that was covered up on the right-hand side by the outside receiver.
But when you're talking about a quarterback's Drew Brees is one of the most accurate and instinctual quarterbacks we've ever seen in the National Football League.
He is. And Drew Brees has that gunslinger mentality, too, where he doesn't care about the situation. He doesn't care if it's 1st and 10, 2nd and 1. He's going to throw it yard. That's what he does. And that's what Tua is. Tua actually has a little bit of Brett Favre in him, too, with the way he can create on his own and is just fearless in the pocket. So I can see the comparisons there.
He's thrown 11 passes in this game. He's got 3 touchdowns. Here's Boyd out past the 30.
And many people have compared Tua, and I think probably because he's a lefty, to Steve Young, which I get it. I totally understand it. But I remember the first time I went to practice, his first practice at Alabama, and he was anticipating throws in windows that you just never see from a true freshman. And it's just amazing to see what he's finally done now.
Based on what Alabama has on the schedule, the teams that we know are on the schedule for the Tide, who is good enough defensively to even slow down? Forget winning a game, but as you look at Froholt, offensive lineman shaken up for Arkansas, who can just keep the Alabama offense in check?
Honestly, I've yet to see anybody that can. There's no one I've seen that can match up at all 5 positions that could potentially catch it and rush the passer consistently enough to fluster Tua Tagovailoa.
Here's 3rd and 3 for Story. Let's see if they just run the ball here and get to halftime. Story rolling out, and it's incomplete. Going to be 4th down. Tom, I'll ask you the same question I did Greg. Is there anybody on the schedule you think that can slow down LSU, Auburn? Are they good enough defensively to slow down that offense to stay in the game?
Well, they're the only 2 teams I see on the slate that has the personnel that matches up the closest. And that doesn't give you all the answers, but it gives you a chance, because these other teams right now that Alabama's facing, they have such personnel advantages that it doesn't matter what you do scheme-wise. And I've always felt with Alabama's personnel, if you're going to beat them, they're going to have to do something to help you beat them.
Waddle was anticipating, did you see that? He was anticipating them kicking away from him. He was in the middle of the field, so he took off before the kick. On the snap, he ran over here because they didn't want to put it in Waddle's hands because of how dynamic he is with the football. True freshman is 5'10", 177 pounds. And is already a great playmaker. But that was interesting, just kind of watching him handle that.
Greg, isn't Alabama to me right now, it's a terrible term to say that they're bored, but they're like the brilliant kid in class that hasn't taken the AP test yet, and he needs to move up into the AP courses. The problem with Alabama is there's no AP course. They are the AP course. So, to your point, Dave and Greg, who is it that can create that AP type of challenge?
Tua in the pocket. Ball is batted around, incomplete. Tua got hit, and they ruled that the hand was going forward. Randy Ramsey was back there, and then Armon Watts knocked the ball out. Now we get some pushing and shoving, but the hand was going forward when Watts hit Tua's arm.
Yeah, rarely does he not get back and get that ball out, Greg.
Yeah, that ball is usually coming out within the blink of an eye, but right there he kind of lost track of how much time he had. There's guys on scholarship on the defensive line too. Those guys are pretty good. Randy Ramsey being back, definitely.
They're going to look at this further. I think that's why we're stopping play here. John McDade, our referee, having a conversation with Chad Morris here. Unless Chad Morris called a timeout to challenge that. You know, you always talk about ways to speed the game up. I think if you just got rid of reviewing every play and just did coaches' challenges and don't stop the clock on first downs, basically NFL rules, we'd have 3-hour games.
It would be, I would enjoy it, honestly. I like the way the NFL does the challenge policy, but this would be inside of 2 minutes anyways.
Challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete forward pass.
And as it's coming forward, it's tough to tell when he loses
After video
grip.
review, the ruling on the field of an incomplete forward pass is confirmed. Second down.
Just not enough evidence to overturn anything there. Right? Ball's moving forward, hands moving forward. Just a little bit late for Ramsey coming off the edge.
Tua Tagovailoa with his second incompletion of the first half. He has more touchdown passes than incompletions in the first half. 3 touchdowns, 2 incompletions.
And he's averaging about 30 yards an attempt, too, which is remarkable. He had only 11 attempts, I believe, prior to that last incompletion for over 330 yards.
And they're just going to run it here. Jacobs up to the 42-yard line. Will Alabama snap it one more time, or is that it? Inside 10 seconds to go, and that's it. Another impressive showing by Nick Saban's offense. 41 first half points. 463 yards in the first half against an SEC team on the road. Smith, he on the first play scored a touchdown. Originally they had Tua with 3 touchdown passes. As they whiff on the kickoff, the ball fell off the tee. There is some wind down on the field. They changed that catch fumble, which originally was not ruled a passing touchdown, but if it starts as a pass, statistically, NCAA rules, it's considered a pass, even if there's a fumble recovered by an offensive player for a touchdown, which is what happened. So they marked it down as a 12-yard touchdown pass, even though it was a 41-yard play.
That's wild. That is wild. There's a great job, a heads-up play by Henry Ruggs, too, to chase the ball. Always be chasing the ball. If you're a young player, you're on defense or on offense, chase the ball until the whistle's blown. Henry Ruggs did so and was rewarded as the ball bounced into his belly for a touchdown.
So now they have to get a holder here for Alabama on the kickoff because of the wind.
He looks really comfortable, doesn't he?
Don't kick my finger. Don't kick my finger.
That's Ronnie Clark. How many times has he held in his life? This will be a touchback, come out to the 25. Now Arkansas was able to move the ball on Alabama in the first half, but not on that play as Boyd has stood up for a 2-yard loss by Williams. Story steps up in the pocket, and it's juggled, but caught for a first down.
They can say, you know, we made a lot of mistakes, but there were some really bright spots as well.
Yeah, because that fumble that you talked about that came in the opening drive happened in Alabama territory.
Correct. They've had a good plan. I mean, Chad Morris, new head coach here at Arkansas, brilliant offensive mind. They've had a good plan for Ty Storey, the quarterback.
Here's Boyd, able to slip a couple tackles and eventually goes down, short gain. McKinney cleans him up.
They're still trying to find playmakers at wide receiver, but you think Michael Woods, number 8, the freshman, he might become that guy.
Design quarterback run for Story, pushed back by Davis and Anthony Jennings.
Big point, though, for Arkansas as they continue throughout the season. They have to be better along the offensive line. I mean, that's an area that has kind of plagued them the last few years. They've been charged with losing weight, becoming more athletic, and they've moved some pieces around. Yelda Froholt went from center to left guard. Cleary goes in there. Colton Jackson, now the left tackle, is fully healthy. The right side has had some ups and downs, but that's a group that needs to continue to improve as the season goes along.
3rd and 7. Story in trouble. Gets out of there and takes a shot from Carter, but looks like he got a first down. There is a flag down. Oh, it's really philosophically a 180 from what Brett Bielema was doing offensively, right, in terms of Chad Morris's offense.
The rolling on the field is targeting against number 5 of the defense. The runner was sliding and therefore defenseless. There was forcible contact to the head and neck area. 15-yard penalty and an automatic
was he
first
sliding
down.
though?
This play is now under video review.
The question is whether or not Ty Story is sliding and therefore defenseless.
So hard to hold up if you're Carter there because you don't know if the quarterback's going to slide, right? I mean, you're got to guess there because if you think, oh, he's sliding and he doesn't, now he may go for a touchdown because you broke down and didn't make an aggressive play on the ball carrier.
Yeah, that's impossible on Carter. It really is. I mean, there's
After
nothing he
video
can
review,
do.
there is no foul for targeting. Fourth down.
I think that's the right
It's
call.
the correct call.
Yep.
Just because if you look at Ty Story, you don't know if he's sliding. It's one thing if it's an obvious baseball slide and he goes in and he's down. It's just kind of fell into Carter. So I agree with the call. Don't penalize Carter the end of this game and the first half of next week's game against Missouri because of an unfortunate situation that he was put in.
And it is a first down for Arkansas.
Almost looked like it was a slide with his helmet and shoulders forward.
Right.
You know, that was awkward.
It was awkward. And they've set the change to be a first down, but the official, John McDade, said 4th down on the field.
Yeah,
So-
it is going to be 4th down. They got to get the chains right
Yeah, so
because it's where the ball
Replay
is
review showed that the ball
on the start of the
carrier
slide.
was down at the 45.5-yard line. Therefore, the ball is short of the line to gain. 4th down.
Yeah, because again, it's where the ball is when. Well, they said it wasn't a slide though, but still, it's where the ball is. You spot it on the ball. You normally on a slide, you start it where the guy starts a slide where the ball is. Either way, it's 4th down, and Arkansas will go for it down 41-14.
don't blame them. No need to play conservative at this point.
And Story's going to pitch it to Boyd, and he will not get it. Dropped in the backfield by Isaiah Buggs. And there's another injured offensive lineman for Arkansas. And it's Brian Wallace, their starting right tackle. Alabama won Nick Saban's 5th national championship at Alabama, 2nd in the last 3 years. Here's Damian Harris breaking free. Finally brought down at the 26-yard line. And Tagovailoa with 18 touchdown passes on the season, no interceptions, 4 today. He is the first Power 5 quarterback with a first half of 300-plus passing yards and 4 touchdowns since Patrick Mahomes, who did it 2 years ago against Baylor.
That's
Mahomes,
amazing.
right now, the NFL story, and Tua, the biggest story in college football from an individual standpoint.
No doubt.
Tua off a pump fake, going for Devontae Smith. And he was out of bounds. Great catch, but he was out of play and complete.
But Tua's efficiency in operating this offense, getting the ball out quick, knowing where to go with the football. If there's a receiver open, he almost always finds him. Just doesn't pass up completions. He's been so good this year.
Another huge hole for Damian Harris. And a fist fight with the DBs at the 10, and Harris wins that one down to the 7, 1st and goal.
No, it's interesting, guys. If you look at Tua Tagovailoa, see the black brace on his right knee? He was not wearing that in the first half. When he got tweaked a little bit on that run in the red zone at the end of the second quarter, just maybe giving him a little more stability in the locker room here coming out of the third quarter.
All right, Tom, thanks. Harris gets the carry. Tom, you are obviously ESPN's national recruiting director. We mentioned in the first half that Tua's brother is committed to Alabama and will be with the Tide next year. How do they compare?
very similar in terms of skill set. Now, Tua is not a big physical specimen. He's big in the lower body, but he's not overly tall.
Damian Harris again on 2nd down and goal, moves the pile all the way down to the 2 before they blow it dead. Trey Greenlaw in there on the hit.
No, we were talking about those Hawaii players in the first half. Did you know that college football rosters, 0.6% are made up of players from Hawaii? 0.6. And we've seen Mackenzie Milton. We've seen now Tua. Saw Marcus Mariota, Jordan Ta'amu. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, just that position alone.
Yep.
No doubt. I mean, really, really impressive group of players that have come from Hawaii over the last few years. I gotta say, Mariota was special, but Tua appears to be the same.
Harris on 3rd down and did not get in. And now for coaches, it's another excuse to go to Hawaii, because for recruiting, you go find the next Tua Tagovailoa.
You know what, though, Dave? Tua, you're not going to believe this, took an unofficial early visit to Alabama, attended their camp, and participated all 3 days. How about that?
Yeah. He knew what he wanted. Alabama going to go for it on 4th down. They were stopped on 4th down in the first half when they had to get about a half a yard. 3 men in the backfield. 4th if you include Tua. Up over the top is Harris, and he did not get in. That's twice now.
Did the ball cross the plane? He goes vertical.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
After video to review, the ball did break.
Yeah, there you go.
The goal line plane, it is a touchdown.
Seemed pretty obvious. So Damian Harris into the end zone for the 2nd time today. So it's 47-14 Alabama. Bulovas missed an extra point in the first half and nails this one, though. 48-14 tie. This confirms what our producer was telling us, that Craig did graduate.
Still not sure it's indisputable, but
and another touchback, and will come out to the 25, and let's check in with Adnan. I think they're all the Hollywood too, Adnan. We had one in the Iowa State game, the one today, and I thought against UCLA he had another one. It was 70 yards or longer. On the rollout, Ty Story throws, and it is caught by LaMichael Petway. Okay, time for our Aflac trivia question. Aflac! Alabama's scoring margin is plus 206. I had to like stumble through that because, I mean, 206, 5 games into the year. It's the 2nd highest in SEC history through 5 games. Can you name which team has the highest?
I have an idea, but
Me too.
Throw it out there. Come on.
I'm going to say Florida 2008. Or 2009, excuse me. Florida 2009.
I might go Florida back mid-90s.
You got to even go back further than that, boys.
Wow.
Why do you know the answer?
Well, because I have the card in front of me that has the answer, as Petway is out to the 33. So you got to go all the way back to 1979. The Alabama Crimson Tide, what undefeated, beat Arkansas in the Sugar Bowl to win the national championship. They were plus 210 through 5 games. That's our Aflac trivia question.
1979. Stedman Shealy. Major Ogilvy.
You read about this team, right?
I was not alive. but yes, of course, if you go to Alabama, you must know the history.
Juggled by O'Grady, then he hangs on. There's a flag in the backfield. Bodies are everywhere.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 92 of the defense, contacting the helmet of the passer. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
It's on Quinnen Williams.
Good call by the official.
So Williams will come to the Alabama sideline after that. And Arkansas in Alabama territory, where they've been a handful of times in this game. And look at the running lane for Hayden. Whacked at the 33, but after a 17-yard run. They've been able to move the ball.
And Arkansas is going to be able to leave this stadium today thinking, we found ourselves offensively the last 6 quarters because they've played pretty dang well against A&M and today against Alabama.
Story off play action, has the throwback. Hayden, and the pass didn't get there. It was broken up by Deontay Thompson at the last second.
So explosive at safety.
Off play action, catch made by Petway, brought down by Surtain. They've had so many good safeties at Alabama. Deontay Thompson, is he the best player on this defense?
Quinnen Williams is the best player.
Okay.
He has been unbelievable so far this year. I mean, Quinnen Williams, he's honestly, the game that he played against Ole Miss, it was maybe the best game I've seen by a defensive tackle since Ed Oliver against Louisville 2 years ago. But Deontay Thompson, in a back end that had some question marks coming in, he's provided a spark. Him and Xavier McKinney, the other safety, they've both played really, really well around some inexperienced guys.
They bring in the 260-pound quarterback Cole Kelly to run it here on 3rd down, and he's able to stretch forward and move the chains. Yeah, you had Raekwon Davis on there. He's a junior, so you imagine at some point we'll start to see some of the movement for those guys that are not seniors. Here's a pitch to Boyd. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew this one. Tom, maybe I'll throw another trivia question your way, see if you can do this, okay?
All right, thank you, Dave.
There have been speaking of draft picks, 2 quarterbacks that have played for Nick Saban in Alabama who have been drafted. Can you name the 2?
Yeah, Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron.
Okay, there you go. Can you name the rounds?
Greg McElroy was in the 37th round.
Subtract 30, but close. Yeah, close 30.
What was AJ, 4th or 5th?
I think it was 5th round.
5th, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know it was around. I want to say late 4th, maybe early 5th. I can't remember.
Broadway Greg.
On the rollout, Story, and it's almost picked off by McKinney, incomplete.
Okay.
This Alabama defense, Tom, I mean, they're not as big as they used to be.
No.
Like, the whole group has collectively gotten smaller and longer. And that's kind of what you need to have in today's day and age, because so many teams are in spread. And you can see Tosh Lupoy, who's not only the defensive coordinator, but he's also the recruiting coordinator as well. They've really identified a different type of body than what they traditionally have had, and they've been very athletic throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, 2 things. You got to play in space, you got to deal with a mobile quarterback, and actually a 3rd, and that is have to deal with not substituting.
Pressure off the edge on 3rd down. Story gets rid of it to Boyd, and look at Boyd fumble the ball. It's recovered by Froholt, but not afraid of contact there, Boyd. Just got to protect the football. And the field goal is good by Connor Limpert. 48-17. Alabama late 3rd. Man, every time and Oklahoma scores, Texas comes back and scores. Tom Herman getting it going there in Austin.
They really are. I'm pretty impressed by that defense, man. Watched them a few weeks ago. Felt like the light went on when they played against USC, and they've carried over that momentum the last 2 games.
Out to the 30-yard line is Jacobs, and brought down around the 34. Jalen Hurts is in at quarterback. Does Notre Dame win, or does Virginia Tech pull the upset?
I like Notre Dame.
No running room that time. Harris sticks Jacobs for a loss at the 31. Well, Jalen Hurts, who was 26-2 as a starter, 45 career passing touchdowns, 21 career rushing touchdowns, the most ever by an Alabama quarterback. And you guys talked about it earlier. He's an improved passer, but he's behind a star, and Tua Tagovailoa.
And it's not even as much about what Jalen Hurts did. It's entirely about how good Tua Tagovailoa is. They can win with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. It just Tua takes him to another level.
They did. Hurts with a completion. Alabama fans knew when he went in the game that meant, okay, the redshirt rule is not going to apply to Jalen Hurts. He's sticking around. That rule was meant for underclassmen, and we talked with Nick Saban about this yesterday as they run Jacobs again here, and he doesn't get much, maybe lost a half yard. And Coach told us, we talked about at the SEC meetings how, what happens if veteran players start to transfer, and we're seeing it. It's hurting teams. It hurt Clemson, obviously, with losing a player like Kelly Bryant in case something happens to the starter, which did last week. What do you guys think? Can you tweak the rule, or is this just what it has to be?
It's unforeseen circumstances and a consequence to a rule that's really good. To allow young players to play and develop and to learn on the job and to keep freshmen engaged is so good for the sport and for their development.
Here's Waddle. I know, too, that every circumstance is different, and so there are a lot of people upset with Kelly Bryant, and then there are a lot of people that understand why he did it. How did Alabama convince Jalen Hurts to stay? Why did it work for Hurts to stay and not go somewhere else?
It's a completely different situation than Kelly Bryant because Jalen Hurts has an additional year of eligibility. Jalen Hurts can graduate in December, transfer somewhere if he chooses to, and go be a starter. And Jalen Hurts has already started 29 games in college football. He doesn't need a bunch of more starts to prove that he's capable for NFL scouts.
Hurts, and it's complete to Waddle for a first down on 3rd and 7.
Do you need 24 more games to show that you might be able to make the jump and become an NFL player?
Yeah, but for him, maybe that's not what he's looking at. Maybe he just wants to play. I mean, that's what Kelly Bryant said. I just want to play.
Well, he's going to have that chance next year, but he feels like playing here at Alabama is the best place where he'll be surrounded by the most talent and have great coaching in order to become a better player this season.
Devontae Smith shoved out with 12 seconds left to go in the quarter. End of 3 here in Fayetteville, all Bama. That's on Sunday. NFL Countdown tomorrow morning, 10 Eastern on ESPN. Jalen Hurts in at quarterback for the Tide. He's inside the 10-yard line on 1st and goal. Picks up a couple. Hurts in for Tua Tagovailoa, who finishes throwing 13 passes. He completed 10. So Tagovailoa will finish with more touchdown passes, 4, than incompletions, 3.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
He's 18 of 23 over the last 2 weeks.
And he still hasn't played in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
They haven't scored an offensive point. They score here. The offense hasn't scored a touchdown inside 12 minutes.
Yeah, you know, this is where Tua really needs to pick it up at this point in the game. You know, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's hilarious, and you say it tongue-in-cheek. I mean, right now, the way they're playing in the first 3 quarters and the production that they have and the stats that they're accumulating, I mean, you have to score 50 to hang with them. I mean, and how do you score 50 against an Alabama defense that is genuinely, I mean, one of the more talented teams in the country?
Hurts on 3rd and goal. Everybody covered. Hurts getting outside the pocket, and it's incomplete. Nice play that time on the pass intended for Waddle. Kevin Richardson, who has missed a lot of time with a foot injury, but it's a good player. He's back out there, and he made the pass break up, 4th down, and the field goal unit will take the field.
Good joke, though. I mean, Nick Saban's constantly asking the media members to, hey, why don't you guys write something negative so I can show the players that and they can learn from it. Well, we just did it, Coach. We did our part.
Yeah.
Not playing very well at quarterback in the 4th quarter. That's what it is. And it's Tua Tagovailoa. He's got to adjust.
That was my homework assignment this week.
That was it?
Yeah.
12 players in formation. Backyard penalty. 4th down.
We just haven't revealed it yet, boys.
That's it?
Yeah, I got a couple of choice nuggets that just will really change your mind about the welfare and health of this team.
I dare you to go tell Coach Saban about it right after the game.
Yeah.
Just give him the full report. Here's what you need to work on next week.
I have a feeling he would smile, wink, and then walk into the locker room.
27-yard attempt by Bulovas. And it's good.
I'm telling you, when you have 2 big wide receivers and you look at Oklahoma's defensive backs, not very long, not very big. You have big, giant wide receivers like Lil Jordan Humphrey and Colin Johnson, man. They're a matchup nightmare.
This will be another touchback. And there are some things today on defense, right?
You got to look hard. They'd blown a couple assignments on defense. They weren't real sound against the run because of numbers on a couple times. They missed a couple tackles, but for the most part, another pretty solid performance against an offense that has a nice plan for him.
Rakeem Boyd, who's looked really good running the ball. Gain of 9.
They've been susceptible to big plays because they've struggled to tackle in space with some of their youth in the secondary, and that's part of growing up in the secondary, learning how to break down, understanding how to leverage the football and knowing your angles. But I think more than anything else, when you look at some of these deficiencies here, Greg and Dave, when we talked to Nick Saban about the kicking game, he said, well, I'm not too happy with our specialists, but I think our special teams has been just okay. So really identifying certain areas that they can be better, and that is growing up in the punting game and growing up as your place kicker.
Will they be in a close game, though, where those things play a role in the outcome? And we're trying to figure out in the first half, looking at their schedule, who can hang with Bama right now. Forget beating them as Story outside the pocket throws it away. It did get through the neutral zone. Again, they've got Missouri in Tuscaloosa next week. Then they go to Tennessee. Then they go to LSU on November 3rd, and that's their last road game. And then their last three, Mississippi State, which is really struggling offensively, the Citadel, and then Auburn to close things up.
Yeah, all three of those teams at the end of the year really haven't found themselves offensively. You look at Missouri, they're about the only team left on the schedule that can score, but it's in Tuscaloosa. And I'm not real confident in Missouri's defense being able to hold these receivers and Tagovailoa in check. So things are looking very bright for Bama.
Here's an interception by Shaheem Carter trying to run it back. And he will for the fourth defensive touchdown for the Tide in 2018. That's the second one for Carter.
But it's had a pretty good season so far. Quietly put together quite a bit of production playing that star position that so many great players before him have played.
10 picks by Alabama, 4 pick sixes, and it's 58-17. Shaheem Carter wearing the turnover belt. Penalty marker is down on the kick. It's against Arkansas, I believe. Or if it's against Bama. So let's see. Shaheem Carter from Kentwood, Louisiana, junior.
Point after touchdown is good. After the play is over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 6, defense, 15-yard penalty being forced on the succeeding kickoff.
So that'll make Alabama have an opportunity to kick it off from near midfield when we come back. Alabama will kick off from midfield. Again, they need a holder because of the wind. That's the other number 13, Nigel Knott, who's doing the holding there, not Tua. Touchback, come out to the 25. One of 4 touchdown passes. It started as a pass, therefore it ends as a pass, even though there was a fumble and a recovery. Here's Jordan Jones.
Greg, write down that fumble by Irv Smith so we can give that to Coach, please.
Another thing to take into account.
Yeah.
Now, this fan here, it's really not the spirit, the school spirit you want to have when you come to a game. And Nick Saban was complaining about the Alabama fans. Chad Morris may have a beef with that T-shirt right there. He didn't come out here to have fun. Coaches don't have fun anyway.
Winning's fun.
Yeah. What did they say? And remember the Titans? Zero fun, sir. Zero fun, sir. Football's fun? No, football. Winning is fun. I like it.
By the way, speaking of Chad Morris, we had a great conversation with him yesterday, and he was a guy that was so well respected as a high school coach, and then got an opportunity to be the offensive coordinator at Clemson. Gus Malzahn helped him out a lot in that. They knew each other, and both were at Tulsa. And so Dabo Swinney chose Chad Morris in 2011. And at that time, Dabo and the Clemson staff, they were in a little bit of trouble. They were coming off a 6-7 season, and they needed to find.
But he is a great offensive mind, and it's going to be a tough test to get this program going again.
Boy, I like the way he plays. Not afraid to stick his hand in there and stiff arm Savion Smith.
This offense that they run, it requires speed at every position. Right now, they have more size than they have speed because they've all been recruited to play in Brett Bielema's Wisconsin. We're going to control the line of scrimmage style of offense. So the transition is challenging. And they're going to have to do a great job on the recruiting trail to identify playmakers with top shelf speed.
There are some quarterbacks that they have their eyes on. They had a good recruiting class, right, Tom?
Yeah, they do. They're
First charge time out of the half, Arkansas.
already 20 verbal commitments, so going strong so far.
All right, take a break, come back. 58-17 Alabama. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, our ABC prime game. We got Kentucky on the road at Texas A&M. Kentucky ranked higher than Michigan in football, as Story runs out of bounds after getting the first down.
So I'm not willing to completely write them off just yet, Dave.
Get him right.
Come on, Dave.
They're not going to be in the college football playoff, all right? So that means they're not back just yet. Boyd to the 16-yard line. Unless you guys think they're going to beat Michigan State.
I feel pretty good about them against Michigan State
Ohio
based on
State.
how those two teams are playing right now. They have Wisconsin coming up in a week's time, so that'll be a challenge too. Wisconsin's pretty good on defense. You look at Ohio State and Penn State, both appear to be among the best teams in college football. So I know Penn State lost last week, but they had every chance to win it. So yeah, there's a lot still left on the vine for Michigan.
Story on the rollout. Nice throw. Touchdown catch. Devion Warren. Second touchdown pass of the day. Now 6 on the year for Story. By the way, there's a downpour at Luce's here where the weather's okay.
Yeah, I don't think that was real footage because I'm not there.
Kick it into the ground here. Irv Smith will grab it on the 21. And they get him down.
Scrimmage after he got hit. And the other was just outside the arms of Irv Smith. So even his incompletions were relatively accurate.
Last week he was 8 of 8 passing. So in 2 games he has 3 incompletions.
It's amazing.
Jalen Hurts hands it off to Najee Harris. And Harris is close to a first down. 2 Bama receivers, Tom, have 100 yards today. It's the 7th time Bama in school history has had 2 guys in the same game with 100 yards.
And quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in this season they have 3. That's how good the group is as a whole. One thing I was going to point out here is Dan Enos, the quarterback coach on the sideline, and they are coaching Jalen Hurts hard. Not happy with him keeping the ball off of the zone keep, screaming at him to hand the ball off. So you can tell they want the ball in the hands of the backs, but they also want to protect Jalen Hurts. They don't need him carrying the ball right here.
I'm actually surprised that there are some starters still on the field for Alabama.
Najee Harris trying to find a hole. Brought down at the 44-yard line. I thought the way that both Tua and Jalen handled this whole situation, remarkable for both young men. So much character and respect for one another. We talked with some coaches down on the field before the game and said, hey, is that real? And they said, yeah, absolutely. The respect they have for one another.
I mean, those guys have been just so happy for one another's success, too. And that's really infectious.
I mean, in a day and age where a lot of players, for one reason or another, whether it's a good reason or not, bail when things get tough, Jalen Hurts didn't do that, and the respect level for him has gone up. And who knows? I mean, he's one play away from being thrust into a situation with the #1 team in the country should something happen to Tua.
And the world is a me world. You know, how does this affect me? How can I get mine? How can I be the best me? And you know what? If you're in my way, I'm taking the path of least resistance. I'm going elsewhere. So you have to applaud Jalen Hurts for sticking with it, for recognizing, you know what? I'm going to get elite coaching here with Dan Enos, my quarterback coach. I'm going to play with great players around me. I might not start, but I'm going to get enough reps to have a productive season.
Harris breaks a tackle and then pushed out of bounds inside the 23-yard line. Then again, you could also say, well, players are taking advantage of a rule that's there. They're certainly allowed to do that if they're going to lose the opportunity to play.
By all means. And if Jalen would have gone before the season and gone to Nick Saban in the middle of camp or at the end of camp and said, hey, Coach, Tua's going to be the guy. I got to go somewhere else. I hope you understand. Nick Saban would have helped him, would have said, hey, we're happy to help you in any way we possibly can. But he opted not to do that. And there's something to be said for that, because just as soon as things get tough in this world now, in college football especially, you bail. And that's your right. You've earned that right. You have that choice to make. But it's gotten really tough for Jalen Hurts. He's hung in there, and he's become a better player as a result, and still a key featured player on this team in a lot of ways.
They're going to keep it on the ground with Robinson. He's bottled up after a 1-yard pickup.
And don't you think, Greg, that Jalen Hurts is a byproduct of what's made this program great? And that's the environment of competition, in the sense that everybody is being recruited to beat out the guy that was recruited before them. And the coaches aren't responsible for, you know, motivating the kids. The environment of competition does it on its own. And that's what's happened between these two players.
Yeah, I mean, they've made each other better. And just being around them, I get the sense that Jalen's a little more reserved, a little quieter. Tua is just very outgoing and friendly, but they just have such a special relationship between the two of them. And iron sharpens iron. I mean, it's real. I mean, that is a real thing. So when you constantly are having someone pushing you, and you have someone that's behind you that can and will take your job if you don't perform, that not only creates a certain level of respect between you and your backup, but it pushes you to heights that you wouldn't get anywhere else at this point. So it's really remarkable, the dynamic.
It is. And Greg, I'll give you a prime example. I'm talking to Alabama's offensive line coach Brent Key prior to the game, and we were talking about some of their young guys. I asked how Alex Leatherwood is doing, and I said I was really impressed with how he came in the national championship game and filled in for Jonah Williams, who was really struggling but got hurt and had to leave the game. And Brent Key said that moment is what made Jonah Williams the player he is this year, because Jonah saw it and he realized, whoa, I wasn't playing very good. This guy just came in and bailed us out on the left side. I better get my game in shape. And that's exactly what he's done.
And John Parker Wilson, I'm sure, said the same thing about Greg McElroy when he was there.
But that's really positive thing. It's every single day there's a healthy fear. It's real. I mean, there's a healthy fear. You know what? I better go out there. I better play well. It's fear that if you don't play well, you can get replaced, and it's fear that if you don't play well, you'll get yelled at. It's fear in a lot of ways, and fear makes you better. Being uncomfortable makes you become comfortable being uncomfortable.
Hey,
and
Greg,
that's really remarkable.
For you, Greg, having played in this environment, played in this locker room with this team, and what the mode of operation is there any truth to the point that the week leading to the game is so strenuous that when you get to the game, it's almost a relief?
Before you answer that, Mac Jones is in at quarterback. He just was the QB on that last play, freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida, replacing Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, where this program is now, I mean, the most challenging 75 reps that they're going to get during the week is on Tuesday practice.
Yeah.
Straight ahead, Robinson down at the 5-yard line with 2:43 on the clock. Jones is played now in 5 of the 6 games. Had a 94-yard touchdown pass last week, the second longest in school history.
No, he's been a pleasant surprise for this Alabama team, and to add additional focus and praise upon what Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky. Kentucky identified him first. He was a long-time verbal commitment to Kentucky. Late in the process, I think Alabama realized we better bring another one in here, given what our numbers are or what they could be as a result of a transfer. And Mac Jones is a quality player. So you see why Kentucky's gotten better in their recruiting efforts.
Robinson into the end zone. Alabama has scored over 60 again. In fact, this is a new season high. The previous was 62 against Ole Miss. 64 with the extra point pending. And 641 yards of total offense is also the most this season for #1 Alabama. Robinson, a local product from Tuscaloosa, sophomore, with his first touchdown of the season.
They like him quite a bit. Now, I know the top 3 guys are elite, but every time I go to practice, someone seems to pull me aside and say, hey, keep an eye on 24, Brian Robinson. He's got a chance. Ian Book, you know what you're going to get. Now you can lean heavily on those running backs and that offensive line that's still moving people around.
And Warren deciding to return this one. And Warren takes off. Kicker to beat. And Warren beat him. They finally catch up to him. Nigel Knott brings him down to the 22. And Adnan, that shot that Trevor Lawrence took last week, it had Clemson fans, I imagine Dabo at the time, panicking. But it's good to see that that young man is okay and ready to go today. Malik Williams on the carry.
You see that young man that just tackled Malik Williams? That's a Yabi Anoma. And get ready, because that's the next great one here off the edge as a pass rush for Alabama.
6'5", 245. How do they always get these linebackers who are 6'4", 6'5", and 240, 250?
I wish I knew. I mean, they breathe fire off the edge, too, because if you look at Ayabi Anoma, everyone was on him. I believe, Tom, if I remember correctly, he was a signing day announcement.
Yep.
And he's not there yet. But on a group that doesn't really have that elite game-changing edge rusher, maybe by the end of the year, he'll be that guy.
Story taking a shot to the end zone, incomplete, trying for Grayson Gunner.
But that's a guy to remember. It's just for the record, when you get a single-digit number and you're on the defensive line, that usually means you're pretty good.
And you're a freshman.
Yeah, and you're a freshman. That doesn't happen very often. So it's a guy to keep an eye on.
Good job by Story there, man. To avoid a sack and then on the run, complete the pass. Again, I know that they're down 65-24, but especially offensively, it's the most points Alabama's given up this year. You're seeing Arkansas starting to look a little bit more like Chad Morris.
Yeah, just
wants him to look.
Just progress. I mean, you don't expect the new coach to come in first month of the season, wave the magic wand, and next thing you know, you're in the running for the SEC West crown, especially not with some of the established programs that are already on this side of the SEC, and they're making progress, and that's got to be a real welcoming sight to Arkansas fans and to their coach.
Look at Story, pinball forward to the goal line. We're going to try to run another play here and get into the end zone. Remember, he coughed it up. Had he scored a touchdown, it would have been 21-14. I'm not saying that Alabama wouldn't have still scored 65 points, but it would have made it interesting anyway in the first half. But he fumbled the ball. Alabama then went on a 99-yard drive in less than 2 minutes. So instead of it being 21-14, it was 28-7. Bad snap. Story in trouble. And it is incomplete. Flags, though, come in. They're going to get Savion Smith for interfering with Petway.
Pass interference. Number 4, defense. The penalty's half the distance to the goal line from the 1 yard line, where it would be a first down.
So they'll move it to the half-yard line.
You have to marvel at how hard they've played. Like, you know what? Might not be the most talented team, not going to win today, didn't win last week, didn't win the week before, but man, they're playing hard. And that's got to be happy as well.
Cole Kelly in the game at quarterback, and the 258-pounder hits Pater, and that's 30 points for Arkansas. All right, so if you're Nick Saban, you're going to go back, you're going to find all the things your team did wrong in this game and use that as motivation and a teaching tool for Missouri.
A few errors, but that comes with growth and experience. A lot of young guys in the secondary. They lost their top 6 defensive backs off last year's team, so not really surprising that group is still a bit of a work in progress.
Wow, ball on the ground. Robinson able to cover it up. And so Alabama likely will just take a knee or just hand it off, and that'll be the last play of the game. Alabama, again, next week. It's on ESPN. It's a Saturday ESPN night game against Missouri. And after that, we go to Tennessee and then to Baton Rouge. Final 3 games will be at home: Mississippi State, the Citadel, and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Auburn has an interesting game tonight at Mississippi State. Mississippi State had high expectations coming into the year, but 0-2. We were there last week when they lost to Florida, 0-2 in the SEC. Can Nick Fitzgerald make some things happen offensively? He's had a disappointing year so far. But Alabama offensively has been anything but disappointing. Nick Saban's team has been dominant. Another blowout win for the Crimson Tide.